Welcome, friends, to another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace. We are retired New York City police detectives and 9/11 World Trade Center first responders. If you like all things true crime related from the police detective's perspective, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you won't miss any videos or uploads from DutyRon or Ed Wallace. Thank you so much for everybody joining here tonight. We're going to be talking about Rex Heuermann, Long Island serial killer. This case with the new leadership, what does it do to the case going forward? And I got my co-host Ed Wallace here with me tonight. Ed, how you doing? What's happening?
Hanging in there, Ron. Doing okay. Just another day in paradise.
A lot of things going on as it pertains to this case. Suffolk County Police Commissioner Rodney Harrison last week, as of Friday, he put his resignation papers in. He was supposed to be done on Friday, but it looks like he agreed to stay till mid part of December. But before we get into our whole conversation tonight, we're going to have a town hall meeting at the second half of this video where we're going to let you guys ask us your questions as it pertains to Rex Heuermann and Suffolk County Police Department with the new police commissioner coming in. But I want to say thank you to the Patreon supporters, the channel members, all the folks who positively engage in this community. You guys are what makes it a great place. Replay viewers, the people who buy us cups of coffee. Ed, have you been feeling overly caffeinated lately? Because these cups of coffee, they keep coming in.
I just got it on an IV now.
There you go. Slow drip. So we want to thank you guys. Ed, I want to go to you first, as I always do. I like to put you on the spot. What's your thoughts? What's your feelings on Rodney Harrison leaving his post before they had a chance to remove him? New county exec, the elections tonight at 9 o'clock. The polls close. We'll have a new county exec, first new one in 12 years. Your thoughts, Ed?
Well, first of all, I smell politics and it stinks. Okay. It's funny how this happens right after he does that interview. Okay. Yeah. And he got all that pushback from the district attorney out there. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I wish he would speak more on what is pushing him in this direction. But if he does leave and they don't run down, they being the district attorney and the task force, don't run down the information provided by the lawyer with those affidavits, I don't know how they can justify this after it's been publicly presented in such a fashion that it seems highly credible. Okay, so let's investigate. Let's see what's fact and what's fiction. All right. So I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't like how it my law enforcement senses says this was politics, and he got the word. He was getting the heave ho over that interview, and he was going to beat them to the punch.
I think you got a valid point there, Ed, because the vibe that I got from when he stood shoulder to shoulder with John Ray at that press conference was it was not a good one. And we were vocal about it. But I don't think that that's the only factor, because as we know, with new mayors and new county execs, they're the same equivalent as a mayor of New York City. When a new exec comes in, a lot of times they have that option to bring their own people in. Now, in Nassau County, Bruce Blakeman just took office last year. He kept Police Commissioner Ryder because he saw that he was doing such a good job. He opted to keep him and not replace him with one of his own people. But I think that Rodney Harrison, Suffolk County Police Commissioner, now he's still on. He's still active until mid-December, is according to the News 12. But he was supposed to be done effective last Friday. But he knew in advance that he was not going to be brought back. And he made mention of it in several interviews, not exactly those words, but he did say that, I'm going to leave it up to my family. He has a daughter who's playing high level Division I basketball, I believe at Wake Forest. He's put that out there, and he wants to go see her play in her senior year. I get that as a father, and I know you get it too. Most of us get that, but he has just got the ball rolling here with Rex Heuermann and identifying with his task force. It wasn't him himself, but he led the charge. He's the big guy. He's the top dog. But what's confusing is these new county executives that are running the Democrat and Republican, Dave Cologne, who's the Democratic representative, and Ed Romain, they have not once in any of their debates mentioned who would be their top dog, who would be the top cop of Suffolk County. Nobody asked it. They didn't mention it. What's your thoughts on that, Ed?
Yeah, that's to me speaks volumes in and of itself, right? So it seems again they're going to go deep into their political coffers, and they're going to pull out somebody who they is a politician themselves, and not necessarily the quality of law enforcement that may be needed out there.
Yeah. I feel strongly that the powers that be, the old timers, there's when Rodney Harrison was exiting last Friday, he put in a memo that he was appointing temporarily, an interim police commissioner, was a career 36-year veteran. I don't have his name off the top of my head, but he was the chief of patrol, the highest ranking 3-star. There's a 3-star chief from his uniform that I saw. He was appointing this 3-star chief that had 36 years in Suffolk County as the police commissioner, acting until Suffolk County exec takes office January 1. When I saw that, I almost threw up in my mouth, because I was like, this guy's just going to come in and be like, not do one thing on this case. And John Ray and Rodney Harrison stood shoulder to shoulder just a few weeks ago talking about 4 separate witnesses. He only got the 2 affidavits, but he had 4 total. And in his new interview with Joe Jackalone, I believe it was yesterday, he said many more people have come forward since that press conference. And we knew that was going to happen, right?
Absolutely.
They threw that fishing rod with the bait on it in the water, and there was people calling, and now he's got more information. But Suffolk County District Attorney Tierney kind of put a little damper on that by his press release that he put out there, saying the only people that should be spoken to is the district attorney and the investigators in the task force. Nobody should be going to John Ray. I thought that was so counterproductive. Ed?
Mm-hmm. You get it wherever you can get it. You don't turn away a witness or a source who's afraid to come forward to the police for fear that they're in the sex industry. They're in sex trade. They're not going to come forward voluntarily to law enforcement and stick their neck out like that. So it's an easy punt. Take it from Johnny. All right. Let the people come to him. He'll get their affidavits and then present it to the district attorney. And then they run down the investigation and figure out if it's true or not. What is wrong with these people?
It's just mind-boggling. And someone in the chat said, how long has Tierney been the district attorney? He just took office in 2022, January 1st of 2022. Let me just play this little piece. And this is about Police Commissioner Rodney Harrison resigning. This is from early last week.
You solemnly swear.
Suffolk County Executive Steve Ballone appointed Rodney Harrison in late December 2021.
I'm very humble to be a pioneer.
During 30 years with the NYPD, Harrison had risen from police cadet to chief of department.
Commissioner Harrison?
60 miles east, he had a mandate to change the face of the Suffolk County Police Department.
Recruitment and diversity in this organization needs to get better.
In our first interview, we had asked the new commissioner about the elusive Gilgo Beach serial killer.
I'm feeling confident that we're getting closer.
Within 2 months of this interview, the Gilgo Beach Homicide Task Force had isolated Rex Heuermann of Massapequa Park as the prime suspect. The suspect's identity kept a secret for nearly a year and a half.
Of course, making the arrest in the Gilgo Beach serial murder case was a top priority for both of us when he came here, and that mission accomplished.
Steve Ballone appeared with Harrison outside Rex Heuermann's house the morning after the July arrest near Heuermann's Midtown office.
Rex, did you do it?
Hours before, Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney unsealed the indictment, charging Heuermann with murdering 3 of the Gilgo 4. The first women discovered dead on Ocean Parkway in 2010.
Rex Heuermann is a demon.
Harrison appeared again outside Heuermann's home during a 12-day search of the house and backyard. Ballone said political differences did not play a role in Harrison leaving.
I'm leaving office, and so it's not surprising that, we would be going out around the same time.
Harrison raised some eyebrows 2 weeks ago when he joined Attorney John Ray at a press conference where Ray claimed he had found new witnesses in the Gilgo Beach case, including one who said she had connected with Heuermann through a swingers club based in Manhattan.
It's something that we need to take a closer look at, and we need to make sure we're investigating it.
The Suffolk County DA was not pleased with the press conference, but wished Harrison well in his future endeavors. Quote, "I am forever grateful for his commitment to partnership with my office over the past 2 years to keep Suffolk County safe." Commissioner Harrison will remain with the Suffolk County Police Department through mid-December, but the chief of department, Robert Waring, will handle the day-to-day operations.
So there you have it. So it was Robert Waring, 36-year veteran. But Ed, what I get, when I sense from there is that Steve Ballone, the exiting Suffolk County Police.
Well, new tonight, Newark police have arrested a woman in connection with a carjacking.
The Suffolk County Police executive, he said that I almost knew that he would be leaving with me. But again, I posed that question to all of us. Why would the county executive say that when this guy has done what no other police commissioner could accomplish? Why would you take him out? Why?
Well, not him per se, but there are two candidates running for office because he can't do term limits. He can't run again. So maybe the Democrat and Republican candidates interviewed Rodney and say, as a courtesy, because in my mind, I believe they already had their guy picked already, should they get elected. And Rodney wasn't it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, the outgoing exec knew the politics that were involved here and knew where this was going to go.
Yeah, I want to play this little piece because this is our good friend from Channel 7, and I like to play the local news, but this was from last night, and they go over the candidates, and I want the people in the audience, because most of the people here who are watching, and by a show of hands, who here that has watched this case, who here in the chat knows who the Suffolk County candidates are for county exec? I'm talking about the Democratic candidate Dave Cologne and the Republican candidate Ed Romain, who has been in Suffolk County politics for over 40 some odd years. So just by a show of hands, who knows these two or have seen them, who has never heard of them and know nothing about them? And I'm going to tell you that me personally, I really knew nothing about them up until last week. I started looking into them, and not once did I hear either of these two candidates say who their top dog would be. Who would be their top appointed police commissioner? None of them. Not even a reporter asked them that question. They asked them about environmental issues. They asked them about police staffing and overtime and money and county sewers for Suffolk County and environmental issues, but not a peep about who your top dog would be. So let's play this and we'll see them both.
Tomorrow is Election Day, and one of the most closely watched races is for Suffolk County Executive. Republican Ed Romain and Democrat David Cologne are running to replace Steve Ballone, who reached his term limit after 12 years. Long Island reporter Shante Lamb spoke with the two rivals about their priorities and plans for the county.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
The countdown is on.
I'm running for Suffolk County Executive, and the election's tomorrow.
Democrat Dave Cologne, a former federal and state prosecutor and CEO of a private equity firm, faces off against Brookhaven's longtime town supervisor, Republican Ed Romain, for the Suffolk County executive seat.
I'm feeling great. I'm very happy that the campaign's finally coming to an end.
If Romain is elected, Republicans could take control of all major seats on Long Island, occupying both county executive seats, both district attorneys' offices, comptrollers' offices, and all 4 congressional seats. But Cologne says not without a fight.
This is their opportunity to elect someone with a different background than we've ever had as county executive before.
I joined both candidates in their final hours of campaigning to ask about the issues that Suffolk County residents care about the most. like taxes.
Most counties don't tax your electric bill. We do. We tax your propane bill. We tax your natural gas bill. We tax your home heating fuel. I think that's a regressive tax. I'd like to see if we can move away from doing that.
So I propose that we would cut general fund county property taxes by 10% at least. I believe that as a business person, to be able to look at the budget for the first time with that private sector experience, which we've never had as county executive before, is a real opportunity to look at how do we make our government more efficient.
So what about affordable housing?
It starts with making sure that our jobs, we have good paying jobs.
I talked about taking county properties that we take for taxes and giving it back to not-for-profits like Habitat for Humanity and Long Island Housing Services.
They both agree on how to handle the influx of migrants.
We see what it's doing in New York City. It's breaking the back of the city, according to Mayor Adams. We don't need that.
I've been very clear that Suffolk County has not a sanctuary county under Steve Ballone's leadership, our current county executive, and won't be.
So what I heard was a lot of wow politics and bullshit. What's your thoughts, Ed?
You know, I don't like politics in New York City, but the more I looked into politics in Suffolk County and Nassau County, I was like, wow, I didn't think anything could outdo New York City, but those two counties, they are unbelievable. I mean, it's like old school, you know, Tammany, what is it? Tammany Hall. I mean, the where the big parties tickets, you know, and who supports who, and you know, whose hand ring you have to kiss to get into the race, and all this stuff out there. I don't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah. I just got a bad vibe from listening to both of these candidates. And if I resided in Suffolk County, which my brother does, my stepmom, and many of my friends live out in Suffolk County, I wouldn't feel good about this. About both of those candidates turned me the F off big time. The Republican, Ed Romain, seems like it's going to be politics as usual. Don't want to know about it. Don't want to hear about it. Again, these two have not once, and I did some really quick cramming of scanning through all of their debates and interviews, and not once did either one of these two say who their top dog would be. And I keep saying that. That's the most important part. Suffolk County, people want to know who's going to be keeping us safe, who's going to be leading the charge now that Rodney Harrison has resigned.
We need some younger new blood, man. These like old timey politicians have been in the business for 40. Listen, here's something our founding fathers never wanted were and two words that should be taken out of the English dictionary: career politicians.
Right.
They shouldn't exist. There need to be term limits on everybody. You know, they weren't. You know, back in the day, you were a pharmacist, you were a farmer. You know, you got elected to Congress, or you got elected to a public office. You did your time, and then you went back to your pharmacy. You went back to your farm after you did your term. You know, no one back then thought to stay the rest of their lives and make a career, and that's where the corruption comes in.
Yeah, and the reporter said this is the first time, okay, in 12 years that we have an election, and in over the past 22 or 26, 23 years. It's only the second election for a Suffolk County executive. So that means that there's this whole, this is what goes on in Suffolk County. They have a county executive that stays to the term limits. And then every 12 years you get a turn. You know, this is an opportunity for the Republicans to steal Suffolk County, but either one of these two to me is a loss. And I listen, we need new blood. Like you said, Ed, you need someone who's going to be looking at this with a fresh set of eyes that really wants to do the right thing. And, you know, it's not all about the Long Island serial killer and the Gilgo Beach case. It's about the whole package, I want to play just one more piece. It's only a minute and 53. These are residents of Suffolk County. And if you're a resident of Suffolk County, I know Angela is, and there's a couple of people in here. Let me know what you think about Suffolk County, these two candidates for Suffolk County executive. In about, I don't know, 35 minutes, we're going to find out in short order who is going to be the new Suffolk County executive come January 1.
I've lived here my whole life, so, I got a big stake in it.
It's an off-year election, but there's still a lot at stake. The biggest race in Suffolk is for county executive. Longtime lawmaker and current Brookhaven supervisor Ed Romain is up against businessman David Cologne. Republicans are trying to take back the top spot for the first time in 12 years.
I know local government. I know what this county takes to run it. I know how to get it moving again.
We need to bring new solutions to the table, and we need new leaders to come to the table who have those ideas and those solutions to move us forward.
Here in Nassau, all eyes are on the legislature. Republicans currently have a majority here, but they're hoping to win a supermajority. Democrats are pushing back hard, insisting a one-party government would be detrimental to taxpayers across the board.
Property taxes going up, the assessment system's in a mess. Republicans always run blaming Democrats, but they ought to take a look in the mirror. They've controlled everything, so why haven't they fixed it?
Republicans also control the Suffolk legislature, with several newcomers vying for seats.
There are people that are already embedded in the community. They're firefighters, they're teachers, they're school board members, they're members of the PTA. These are individuals that are already demonstrated a commitment of civic duty.
There are also several key races for town supervisor. In North Hemstead, Democrat John Cayman, who ran the town for a decade, is running to win back that seat. And in Suffolk, there are 6 open supervisor seats, all 5 East End towns, plus Brookhaven.
You don't know what a new supervisor is going to bring. What does this mean for the entire East End with a change in leadership?
There's Barbara Walters.
Walters.
Yeah, her voice. If you don't see her face.
Yeah, I heard the voice. Yeah.
Yeah. This Republican candidate, 40 some odd years in Suffolk County, and somebody presented to him, I think this was at the debate, actually. It was, I think it was Dave. Yeah, it was Dave Cologne said to him, you haven't fixed Suffolk County in 40 some odd years. What are you trying to do to fake the voters that you're going to be able to take care of this, because you've been in politics for 40 something years? And he came back to him and said, I fixed the town of Brookhaven. It was comical. The whole thing was comical. Ed, when it pertains to this Long Island serial killer, Gilgo Beach, Rex Heuermann prosecution, again, you brought up right from the beginning, and this is why I love you. You brought up the most important point. With the new evidence and the new leads, if whoever takes over doesn't take the torch and run with it, as Rodney Harrison said, shame on you. I hope and pray that we don't see that, Ed.
That has to be answered out, all right? Because if they don't answer out what was presented in that press conference and the new material coming forward, it's going to open up a whole can of worms of conspiracy theories and, leaving them wide open to say that they're corrupt and all of this stuff. And it's easily avoidable. Okay. It's easily avoidable. I don't like the fact that you're losing your commander of the task force for all intents and purposes, just as they're really making headway into this case. And remember, look how old this case is. And it never needed to take this long to solve this. The information was there. It just wasn't looked at properly.
Yeah. And that's what makes it really frustrating, is that you just had the wheels of justice. And we always refer to this as the wheels of justice are in motion. They were standstill for such a long time. And John Ray, he was ignored by the leadership of Suffolk County for many, many years. And now he has this partnership. Do you think, Ed, that the new Suffolk County Police Commissioner on January 1 is going to do what Rodney Harrison did? Go to John Ray's office and sit down and say, hey, let's talk? No, because the politics of it is, I saw what they did to Rodney. I'm not going to step in that minefield. Okay. First of all, the person that these commissioners are going to come and these executives are going to pick for their commissioner are going to be politicians themselves that owe their allegiance to the executive. And it's going to be favors. We know how all this works. They take in somebody who they know and trust and who's going to follow their lead. They're going to follow their direction. Sometimes what we have, you and I have seen this in New York City. We've had a great police commissioner in, and when I was there, it was Dinkins, Giuliani, Bloomberg, and then
Big
Bozo.
Bird.
Yeah, but I wasn't there for Big Bird. But what I'm saying is each time we had that turn with new mayors, we had decent police commissioners in there, and the mayors, in true fashion, came in. Maybe they kept the guys for a couple of months, or maybe they just replaced them right away. But as the rank and file, you look at your leader, you look at the police commissioner, and you say, you're either behind them or you're not. And I think most of the cops in Suffolk County welcomed Rodney Harrison and his charge attitude, because they're able to really be cops when you have someone at the top supporting you.
Well, he's the new blood that I'm talking about. He broke that chain of good old boys that were out there, and and he started to make some changes. And apparently, there's pushback. People don't like the change. Okay, and he was trying to initiate some change, and obviously, he did some good with the Gilgo case. And then they revert right back to their old politics ways.
Yeah, and that's the sad part, is that it's business as usual in Suffolk County. And that's what I fear, Ed. What I fear is what's going to happen is it's just going to go back to that old status quo. We got Heuermann, let's fry him for this. We'll put a pacifier in the public's mouth, and that's not going to work. That's going to backfire, because we're all charged up. Everyone's fired up, and they want to see more justice for more of these victims. There's plenty more that are out there, and there's plenty of more possibilities of what Rex Heuermann was into. He was a reign of terror everywhere he went, and I'm sure that when he traveled to his outside of New York residence that he had, his vacation homes in different places, I'm sure he didn't just put his phone down and say, let me leave the sex workers alone. I'm going to take a break from this.
Oh, and by the way, there's no sex workers in Las Vegas. That's just a myth.
Of course not.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. I want to just play this real quick.
This particular woman was dating.
This is the press conference, guys.
A police officer from New York City who was in narcotics, a detective.
The first witness said her date picked up a woman in Midtown she's now identifying as Karen Vergata in February 1996, and they drove to Rex Heuermann's house in Massapequa Park.
This girl disappears downstairs at the house. Rex Heuermann disappears.
It's something that we need to take a closer look at, and we need to make sure we're investigating it. And that's why the task force will stay in place.
The first witness said her boyfriend, the off-duty cop, also had sex with Heuermann. When they left the home, they allegedly saw Karen Vergata inside.
The girl runs out of the house naked and is running in front of the garage. And now the witness says, hey, shouldn't we be taking her? Something's wrong here. And the driver tells her, nah, they're just playing a game.
Karen Vergata's legs washed up on Fire Island in April 1996. Her skull was found in Ocean Parkway in 2011. Another witness, a female taxi driver, claimed she saw Rex Heuermann at the Sayville Motor Lodge in the fall of 2009 with a frightened Shannon Gilbert.
And that's where, Mary, we're going to make sure we're doing our job and trying to nail down time frames, look at radio runs and other things.
A third witness said she was a sex worker threatened by Heuermann with a gun in Flushing, Queens. The final witness said he was always nice to her.
He was a serial user of sex workers. He would sometimes have them come two at a time.
And John Ray said that the first witness met Rex Heuermann's wife at the Massapequa Park house in 1996, but the police have said they don't think that Heuermann's wife knew anything about any of the murders. She was out of town when some of them took place. According to the indictment, Rex Heuermann has pleaded not guilty in 3 killings.
This is right outside of John Ray's office in Miller Place there. But Ed, you heard what Suffolk County Police Commissioner said. We got to run down all of these leads. This is what's concerning to me, is that new guy comes in, and what if he just pushes this all to the side and says, oh, we're not dealing with this wacko? That could be a potential of how they take this. Now, I don't feel that that's the case. I think John Ray is interviewing the people who are in with all of this all of these doings, and those people know. And I don't care how much time went by. If they're swearing out affidavits and they can be sworn out and brought into court and to testify, that all has to be run down, all of that stuff. And
yeah, and who knows? Maybe the new commissioner coming in already have their marching orders between all the powers that be in the politics out there, and okay, let's just be satisfied. We got these four, and let's close this case up.
Right, and we've seen that happen in New York City. Not only does the police commissioner come in, they take out the chief of detectives. They'll take out and they'll appoint all of them. Right? Yeah, I mean,
there's a bloodbath. Yeah, we've seen bloodbaths time and time again. Right?
Yeah,
yeah, where it's like they cleaned house overnight. Oof, they went in there. And
that was a good
fascinated
example.
Everybody.
Yeah, I love the bloodbath reference, but it's true, because you see when a police commissioner comes in, Rodney Harrison has his executive, his first deputy commissioner, female, retired lieutenant from NYPD. He put her second in charge with him, working with him. He also took another guy, I forgot his name, but put him in his under his executive staff. So they take their own people, and we could see a huge shakeup in Suffolk County. We could talk about Lieutenant Byron, who Rodney Harrison speaks so highly of him. Kevin Byron, the Suffolk County homicide chief of the Homicide Bureau. We could see him getting bumped out as well. There could be a ton of heads rolling come January 1. And what is that going to do? It's going to cause public unrest. People are going to be very upset in Suffolk County, and everybody that's following this case, the whole world is watching this.
Well, we know how it goes, right? You're a police commissioner at the discretion of the elected official that appointed you. So in New York, it's the mayor. In Suffolk County, it's the executive. Okay. And then when the police commissioner gets appointed, what do? They bring in their own team. Okay. Yeah. They bring in their cronies. Whether or not the cronies are qualified for the position, that doesn't matter. Okay. It's all about politics. And they're going to surround themselves with people they think they can trust and that will watch their back and not necessarily are the best person for the job.
Yeah, it's just so disheartening to see this happening. And again, what Rodney Harrison says at the end of this interview, and I'm going to play it again. This is Newsday TV. I think it's important that the people hear this, because he says here, under no uncertain terms, whoever comes in after him, if they choose to not follow down these leads, shame on them, and pursue all of the new information coming in. Let's listen.
Harrison told Newsday in August.
We'll say that if anybody that comes in behind me and they choose to dismantle the task force, shame on them. The task force is what got us in the place where we are today. A lot of great work.
In Yaphank, I'm Shari Einhorn.
That speaks volumes, that statement right there.
Yeah, but I don't think the people are going to put up with it. If they try to dismantle that task force without answering out all these affidavits that Johnny's gotten, and without trying to close out those other cases out there, the people of Suffolk are going to rise up and say, enough of this shit. We're tired of this incompetency or corruption or whatever it is. It's got to stop.
Yeah, I agree. And there's a lot of people who are following this case very closely. And we can't forget, obviously, the victims' families. Let's go to the chat, because there's a lot of people in the chat. Ed, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, these people out in Suffolk and Nassau County pay a lot of taxes for these police services. All right. So they should be demanding a lot.
Yeah. It's the most expensive place to live, at least that I know of in the Northeast, tax-wise, when you look at homeowners and so forth. Cheryl, thank you so much for gifting out that membership, and thank you to everyone who's here in the chat. Hashtag Ed, hashtag DutyRon, questions relating to this case. Let me just go and say hello to a couple of people. Ed, Heather Whatever is here, Girl Friday. All of our regulars are here. Okie Dokie 7, Black Rose. Hello, Dawn Marie, Joey Brooklyn, New York Mom, Miss Donna Marie, Erica, Pierre, Timmy Acosta's here. Did you see Timmy?
Timmy,
DutyRon for police commissioner, and I yielded to Ed Wallace. Ed Wallace for police commissioner.
No, I don't need that headache.
Yeah, a lot of headaches. Christina says it's all about politics. Ugh. Yeah, I agree.
Typically is.
Politics is yeah, it makes things ugly. Nicole Stewart, always sharing our stuff and is a great supporter. Beamer 650. Thank you, Lorraine, for being here. Jersey Devil, thank you. Teresa B, Kat H, Tiffany Knox. We got the whole crew here. Low Stevens, Ron and Ed are the best. We're so lucky to have two voices that will not put up with corruption or make excuses. So many lies out there every day. Thank you, guys. Yeah, and you know what? I thank you for bringing that up, Low Stevens. I want to say this. You know, Suffolk County executive Steve Ballone, he elevated James Burke. I don't even like to call him Jimmy. James Burke. He elevated him to a 3-star chief. He was the highest ranking. He was the chief of patrol, right? He was in charge of Suffolk County for a long time. He was the highest ranking uniformed member of the service, thanks to Steve Ballone. He is now going to leave January 1 with a fat ass shiitake mushroom pension. He leaves without being questioned. No, I had never heard one reporter or anybody question Steve Ballone on how and why he elevated James Burke to the rank of police chief. Amazing. So Debbie Carroll says because they're all friends of Spoda. But Spoda, listen, Ed, can you correct me if I'm wrong on this? The district attorney, generally speaking, doesn't control the police department. There's that friction always between the district attorney's office and the police department. It's not different in Suffolk and Nassau as it is in the city. It's the same way. They don't dictate what goes on in the police department. The county executive, the district attorneys in all of our 5 boroughs, they can't tell the mayor what to do. That's the same thing as people saying Spoda was telling this guy. I get that it's a smaller, government, but the district attorney doesn't tell the county executive what to do. The county executive runs the whole show. He's the top dog. Ed, am I wrong?
Well, in the hierarchy of things, yes, you're right. But that doesn't stop these egos from doing these power plays. District attorneys threaten mayors, mayors threaten district attorneys, but they're all elected officials, right? And and typically they're in one party in New York, okay? And everybody's got to pay allegiance to the party. And if you piss off the party elders, it's like John Wick. If you piss off the elders or the table, they're coming after you.
Yeah. It's a shame. I don't think we'll ever get down to the bottom of it. But the bottom line is the person who signed off on James Burke's elevation after knowing that he was on duty and in uniform as a sergeant having sex in a patrol car, and that his prostitute girlfriend, who she said she loved him, took his car with his gun belt and his gun in it and drove it home and smoked crack in his house with a bunch of crackheads. That is written out in an internal affairs investigation from the Suffolk County Police Department. How in God's name does the county executive look at that file and say, let me elevate this guy from captain to deputy inspector, then chief, deputy chief, then chief, and then give him 3 stars. Let me give him 3 stars because he did such a good job while he was a sergeant on patrol. I can never, ever comprehend that. I don't think I ever will. Nobody can ever explain it to me, because if I did that, or if you did that, we'd be fired and locked up.
I just heard Popeye say it. That's bullshit.
Yeah. He said,
oh, hell no.
Yeah, here, someone said that's corruption. Steph MP. That's more than corruption. That is really, when you take that oath and you swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the laws of the land, right? It doesn't mean that you can now start committing crimes and hanging out with felons. They had to interview Suffolk County Internal Affairs had to go to Nassau County Jail to interview this prostitute that James Burke was buddying up with, because she was locked up for a felony in Nassau County. So they interviewed her in Nassau County Jail, and she spilled the beans on what happened, and it was all on paper. How did he get afforded the opportunity? He should have been demoted, if anything, and or fired at that point, but he didn't. He kept his rank, and he was able to take the lieutenant's test and move up the ladder. Ed, what do you see? Why are you laughing?
Oh my! No, it's just buddies of mine from Louisiana State University bought my mugs from our shop, our merch shop, and they're sending me texts and photographs of my mugs.
Kathleen Dillon, yeah, those mugs, I got to get some and start putting them up in the back. Kathleen Dillon says, get John Ray on your show. I don't need to get him on the show because he's on everybody else's show. So I just watch what he says. I know, he's going to say the same thing that he said 2 nights ago or a night ago on Joe Giacalone's show. I saw him all around. He's making the rounds. I'm not going to be an extra pain in his ass asking him to come on the show, but thank you for that. Thank you for that suggestion. So Schmitty says it's spatter, not splatter. That's all.
And remember, folks, it's the holiday season. They make great stocking stuffers.
They certainly do. All right, let's go.
That swing sweat.
Swing sweat. Let's see. Here, Talk to Angel says he had a cocktail hour. That's how he was elevated. Yeah, I mean, there was talk that he, in the chief's office, in Chief James Burke's office, you can come in and have alcohol and smoke cigars inside his office. This is those allegations that are out there. But, corruption ran far and deep in Suffolk County for a long time, and it was able to stay there because the county executive just ignored it, just simply outright ignored it. And shame on him, and shame on all the police executives who knew about James Burke and just said, you know what? I don't know. I didn't see anything. And those people to me are just as dirty as them because they're actually letting it exist. Nana Patty, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Vintage Mama, thoughts on John Ray's interview with Joe Jago. It was a good interview. I recommend everybody go watch it. Cat H, a member for 29 freaking months. Thank you. 26 months for Vintage Mama. Says love to DutyRon and Ed. Well, we love you right back. Cheryl got just gifted out a membership. And there is our friend AH. I'm not going to say her name. I'm not doxing her, but she's a retired sergeant. Thank you. $9.99 on the super chat. Evie sends in a $5. Just super sticker. Thank you. Appreciate that. No message on that super chat, but thank you, Evie. All right. So Debbie Carroll says 15 minutes until the polls close. I'm going to check it out. Fuzzy Doxy says you're part of the problem or part of the solution. That was in regards to what I was saying about the people who the whole department was well aware of James Burke. I mean, I have a cousin who retired at an ESU. I've tried to pull out information from him, and even now in his retired time, when I mention James Burke, he laughs and he says, "Oh, he was a perp." Yeah, but he was on your department. Atlantic City too during Prohibition. So yeah. A lot of people are just going off about Burke. We should just do a dedicated show on Burke. I mean, I think we'd need about 2 hours to do that one. But Ed,
you're fixated on him.
I'm fixated on him because it's amazing that he was able to stay so long, and he's got $165,000 a year pension. Ed, the guy's got $165,000 a year that the taxpayers of Suffolk County are paying for every year.
You believe in karma? Do you believe in karma?
I do, but it's taken a long time for this guy to get karma because he just got pinched over at fucking Bald Hill, and guess what he's getting? A slap on the wrist. He's getting a slap on the wrist.
See, that's old school politics right there. Yeah. It's every dog has their day. Eventually, they're going to step into something they can't get out of.
Yeah, absolutely. New York Mama Adrian says, I started watching during the Valva case too. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Hey, I want to say thank you to our LinkedIn friends. We're broadcasting live tonight. We usually don't do it, but we're broadcasting live on LinkedIn. So hello to all of our executives, our police executives and friends who are watching on LinkedIn. And you know what? I think all of the people who follow me on LinkedIn all are on the same page as what I'm saying here. I know I'm being a bit extreme, but you can't be too extreme when it comes to Suffolk County ex-police chief James Burke, who is now, I mean, he's a perp. He's getting locked up. He's soliciting prostitutes. He's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. The guy is really a piece of work. It's somebody that we don't want in. It's a black eye for law enforcement is what I'll say. But thank you to everybody who's watching on LinkedIn, Twitter, or X, Facebook, and all the platforms that we stream live to. Ed, I want to just go to you because I'm exhausted, and I know that this election is wrapping up in about 10 minutes. But I wanted to also go to you about, somebody asked a question, and this was to you last week, about the evidence, like the forensic evidence for all of the skeletal remains and all the stuff that was done way back when, about preservation and about people were worried about, you see in this Netflix series that they did on James Burke in Suffolk County, in that Netflix thing, they showed him go into the crime lab and asking the technicians to get rid of evidence or for him to take evidence. Can you reassure people about the checks and balances that are in place in these crime labs and so forth?
Yeah, I mean, there are checks and balances that there are layers of supervisors there that are supposed to be on the lookout for such thing, but it does happen. I'm not going to lie. I mean, there are numerous lab scandals around the nation, of analysts doing what's called hot labbing and, supposed to be running tests on drugs, and they're not really doing the tests and just giving results and so forth. And then there are, great names in forensics getting jammed up for falsifying testimony and swearing on the stand during double homicide trials and so forth, saying that they did a test. Then, that came out one way. When the lab retested it, it was totally bogus. I mean, there's plenty of this that goes around, and it's unfortunate, right? Listen, we come from our society, all right? Law enforcement are made up from our societies, and in society, you have good and bad people, and sometimes bad people slip through the cracks and get into these positions of authority that they shouldn't be in. And eventually, if they, what happens with law enforcement, if you are like quasi, wild kid or something, growing up, and you never really got, too badly involved in something with law enforcement, and you managed to get past the background investigation, the psych exam, physical and background investigation, and you're in, sometimes that authority goes to your head and turns a wild person into a bad person. Okay. And we gotta, as law enforcement, we have to weed these people out. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, does it happen? Can a guy go like that up into a lab and do something like that? Absolutely. And I've known other cases where that's happened, very close to home. And I know plenty of cases around the nation and internationally as well. It happens, and it sucks when it happens because it gives everybody a black eye.
Yeah. And if anybody was going to do something like that, it would be this James Burke. I mean, the guy was as dirty as he can get. And somebody said, "Is he a perv and or a criminal, or both?" I say he's both.
Well, no. Again, remember what I said in the past. Once you're wearing that badge, and then you cross that line, you're no longer a cop. You're a perp. You're a criminal.
Yep, perpetrator. Okay. And perp is short for perpetrator, obviously, folks. So yeah, he has crossed that line, and I believe that he crossed that line way before he got caught as a sergeant. He was not a good cop because they talked about how he was so street smart and how he was really good in the street. Well, I think he was good in the street because he was up to no good. I don't think that he was a choir boy from the beginning. And this thing goes all the way back to that young boy who was killed before he became a cop with the rocks shoved down his throat. So this thing goes way back, and Burke was the star witness for Spoda in that trial. So God, who the hell knows where this thing, how far this goes. But I really feel that John Ray was getting close. He was peeling back that onion, and a lot of eyes were watering in Suffolk County. And, Ray's getting closer to exposing Burke and the police department and some of the bad things that were going on back in the day. Rodney Harrison had that police department on track. Suffolk County PD, things were looking up. And now, I say this, any Suffolk County executive that came onto the set and had good intentions would want to seek to retain Rodney Harrison, not get rid of him. It's just so freaking bizarre. My head explodes when I hear and I think about this, because if I'm coming in there as a fresh, brand new Suffolk County executive, the Democratic candidate is a businessman. He knows nothing about running Suffolk County. He definitely knows about running businesses, and it's almost like running a business, right? Because when Bloomberg took over the city, we were like, oh, we're screwed. He doesn't know how to be a mayor. He turned out to be okay. He wasn't bad. But I had my thoughts about Bloomberg. He's a billionaire. But was he ever a mayor? Did he ever run the largest municipality in the United States? No. But the thing of it is that if you have any common sense, you would look at a guy like Rodney Harrison and say, you know what? He'll be an asset to me as the lead executive of Suffolk County. I want that guy. Not, hey, take a boot. All right, here's some election updates.
Their decisions. We set News 12's Kevin Vesey to a
University is uniquely positioned to
commercial.
But you're a big tease, Ron. You're a big tease.
I swear to God, everything's not going right tonight. But expand on what I was saying there. You think I was going off the tracks? But really,
no, not at all. Here's another thing. There's a lot of resentment towards NYPD executives that go, coming into another law enforcement jurisdiction and then taking over. And then again, we had our own situation here too with egos between the mayor and the police commissioner. We had a great police commissioner, and we had at that time a great mayor, but one wanted to take credit for everything and said, I can't be in competition with my great police commissioner, and then launched a great police commissioner.
Yeah, that's frustrating. Here we go without the commercial, I hope.
And as voters head to the polls tonight, what are the issues motivating their decisions? We sent News 12's Kevin Vesey to a diner in Islip to find out. Kev, what are the people there
saying? Good old diner
today?
in Islip.
Yeah, so Kevin, what better place to sit down and have a frank and honest discussion with people about the issues that matter to so many of us than a good Long Island diner. And that's exactly what we're doing here tonight. We're here at the Okanee Diner in Islip, and we've already been talking with a lot of these people who are sitting here having their dinner right now. A lot of them told me that they went out, they voted earlier today, or that they plan to vote. And the race that they're talking about right now is the race for Suffolk County executive. That, of course, is
Let's
the
see if
big
somebody
one
asked
that's on
about the police
so many
commissioner.
people's minds here. So what are they looking for in a candidate? Well, so many people tell me that affordability is a major concern for them. They want to make sure that they can continue to afford to live here, that they can raise their families here, their kids can live here, that their grandkids can live here as well. Public safety, also a major concern. And what I'm hearing from a lot of people is they want to make sure that a candidate can help preserve the suburban way of life that so many people here enjoy.
We moved out here about 40 years ago. It was nothing like it is now. And I like to try to, you're not going to get it like it was, but I like to get it as close to as possible.
Crime
I think that we've seen a rise in it, and we've seen a lot of situations that have been very uncomfortable for our residents. So we need to have some focus on that. And also always education. It's very important that we continue to support our schools and that public education is first and foremost.
Between the inflation and the local spending and at every level, it's just becoming super unaffordable for a lot of people here on the island.
That's Dave Ryder's brother or something?
And of course, we are just getting started speaking with people here. We have a long way to go and a lot of very important conversations to have about the issues that matter to all of you. So if you're watching this and you're in the Islip area, come on down to the Oak.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Like a good old
who doesn't like a good old Greek diner?
Oh yeah. That one's decorated nice. It almost looks like it's decorated for the holidays. Fall leaves. It's really nice looking. All right. So, you know, the bottom line is we're going to have a new county executive tonight, and it's already done. Rodney Harrison is out. What does it mean for the Long Island serial killer Gilgo Beach murder case? We don't know. It's anybody's guess. But I could say this, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say it right here and right now. I know in my heart that there's not going to be a police commissioner that comes in with the vim and vigor that Rodney Harrison had. He's not. They're not going to go straight to John Ray's office or open that that door of communication. And if they do, I'll be very pleased. But I'm saying it right here and right now. Don't expect anything. You know, when it comes to aggressiveness, the task force should be still left in place. But who knows? Who knows? I don't see them disbanding that task force. So, but how aggressive do they investigate? That remains to be seen. Ed?
You know, again, after this election, if they make these radical changes to the task force or, you know, what's going on, the people will not put up with this. And they're going to let their anger out on these elected officials, and they'll be answerable.
We'd love to chat with you.
I agree 100%. The people, there's going to be some explaining.
You got to do some explaining, Lucy. But right now, the polls are closing at 9 o'clock. So, you know, if they're doing exiting polls, we might have some information.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to see right now. So I'm looking race, trying to get it up to date.
I use Alpha Epsilon.
It's not cooperating with me. But yeah, listen, we'll know. It's not going to be instantaneous. I'm assuming that there's going to have to be some kind of count. Probably 9:30, 10 o'clock. We'll know. But the lead candidate supposedly that's, you know, has the shoe in is the Republican Ed Romain. We'll see. We'll see tonight, and we'll keep you guys posted. I'm going to ask just a quick favor of everybody here, because I don't usually ask for favors, but I'm going to ask just for general prayers. They're needed right now, and I'll be able to explain this to you guys in further detail in the coming future. But I'm just going to ask everybody to please send prayers and pray for a good friend of ours who needs some prayers right now. And I'll be able to give you more details in the future. But as of now, just asking for general prayers to go up. You know, there'll be more opportunity for us to talk about it going forward. But yeah, Ed and I want to continue this conversation. So if you have any questions, leave us questions in the chat. We get sometimes hundreds, sometimes thousands of comments in the comment section. Just remember, if you're going to disagree with what we're talking about here, it's always fine to do that. But if you're going to come into the comment sections and be rude and just be crude and rude, it's a guaranteed way. And that's why I have the Jagaloon sign up. It's a guaranteed way to get blocked. And I don't want to have to block anybody. I want everyone to have a free space to converse and tell your opinion, voice your opinion, talk to us about it. But there's no room for disrespect here. YouTube is a free application for all of us to come on to. So if you don't have something nice to say, or if you have some type of nasty comment about a guest or myself or my co-host or anybody, don't don't do it. Don't leave those type of comments. And again, we welcome all sides of the fence. If you feel like we're off on something, it's always an easy way to put that and have that conversation in the comment section. But if you're going to be rude, then it's not going to work out. On behalf of Ed Wallace and myself, I want to say thank you. What happened?
What happened to the tattoos and all that stuff we were talking about?
Absolutely. Okay, so on our members only live that I did, what was that, Sunday? I made a statement that Ed Wallace has artwork on his back, and he went to another country recently. I'll let Ed tell you, and he got a tattoo on the shoulders, right? Go ahead, Ed. Tell the story.
It wasn't recently. That one was last year.
Okay.
Yeah, I have tattoos. Yes, I have tattoos. I have my family crest and kilt. If you know what a kilt pin is, you can Google this. So those of you, everybody's on the internet. So Google the Wallace clan kilt pin. Sorry, the Wallace clan kilt pin. It's what holds the two halves of the kilt together when you wrap it around your waist. Anyhow, that's tattooed on my back. Okay, so that's got my family motto and all that stuff there for the Wallace clan in Scotland. And then on top of my shoulders, I have the Latin words "Fortuitus fortuna advet." In Latin is fortune favors the brave, and so let me see. That's what's on my back. Fortuitus fortuna advet. Fortune favors the brave, right? And this is my John Wick marker. You guys familiar with John Wick? And then on the bottom, it has blood oath there. Okay, and then inside it.
Uh-oh. I have served. I will be of service.
My bloody fingerprint, and this is actually a crime scene coin from a crime scene unit. Pretty cool, right?
That's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that, Ed. And I told everybody that you were going to take your shirt off and show everybody your tattoos on your back. Are you willing to do that, or is that going to be for another show?
No, you're going to have to pay for that.
What's the price? I'll throw the super chat out there right now.
Listen, when I was younger, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but when I was younger, I graduated high school, and I went to 2 proms when I graduated. All right, my prom and my girlfriend's prom at the time, and then after I graduated, for the next couple of years, I'm in college now. I kept being asked by the girls from my former high school to take them to the prom, to the point that I went to 3 additional proms, and my mother was calling me the prom whore.
Oh boy. Ed Wallace, double proms. I went to 2 proms myself, but yeah, never got called the prom whore. But let's listen to. I just want to make sure that
they are trying to win back control of the county legislature. The GOP won the majority 2 years ago after.
Okay, no, that's just local coverage. It's funny, they don't update. Here, hold on. Let me just see what she's saying here. Hold on.
What's the atmosphere like there?
Turnout today at the polls, so they're pitching some pretty good news. The crowd is gathering. We'll have much more coming up. Back to you.
Well, they look like they're ready for a party there, Joe. We'll see if they get one tonight.
That's Romains.
As for the Democrats, they are trying to win back control of the county legislature. The GOP won the majority 2 years ago after more than 15 years of Democrat control. News 12's Tama Ponton is in Holtzville now at Suffolk Democratic headquarters with the latest. Tama, what's the atmosphere like there?
Well, the atmosphere has definitely picked up here, Rich. In the last couple of minutes, people have been filing in, waiting for these results to come in, and they are hoping that they are going to see that Democrat Dave Cologne is going to be the next Suffolk County executive. As we have reported here on News 12, for the first time in 12 years, a new person is going to be chosen to lead Suffolk. Now, we spoke with the campaign manager from the Suffolk Democratic Committee about Dave Cologne and about his push for this office. Take a listen.
We're super excited about him, the race he's run, and the future of Suffolk County with him as county executive. We're talking about clean water, affordability, protecting the communities and the taxpayers, and moving Suffolk County forward.
And Rich, of course, in that debate you hosted, we learned that both candidates are along the same lines with a lot of the same issues. It is up to the voters now. We wait along with everyone else to see the results of what many people are telling us is the biggest race they are paying attention to tonight for Suffolk County Executive. Rich?
You said it, Tama. They are very similar on a lot of these issues. We'll see how the voters land tonight. Thank you. In Nassau County, voters are deciding on
All right, so
Hemstead, North
it
Hempstead,
looks
and
like
Oyster-based supervisors. Mayor
it looks like
Glencoe.
they're not updating real time here. So Ed's looking down at his phone, so I have him off the screen. All right, I'm putting him back because he's back looking up. Again, the shoe-in for this is supposedly Ed Romain, and that was Dave Cologne's. Let me just see something quick. Hold on.
County Democratic headquarters.
Yeah. Okay. I want to just ask everybody who's here just to quickly give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to this community because you want to, make sure that you have that bell rung, the actual all notifications rung up. So when we go live or upload another video, you get the notification. Ed and I greatly appreciate everybody. They're throwing super chats for you to take your clothes off, Ed. Well, sure. Here's $5 to keep clothes on. From Roger. Roger's saying keep them on. Ed, is that one of your friends?
I'm with you, Roger. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah,
Right.
he's part of your fan base. He wants to keep it nice and clean and classy. So there you go. But you saw some of the ladies were throwing money at you. It's like we're gonna have to get like a swing pole.
It's
swing pole.
Swing sweat. It's like
sweat.
going to the beach and seeing guys in Speedos that shouldn't be in them.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, I want to thank everyone for being here, the moderators, the replay viewers, the super chatters, the people who, buy memberships for some of the folks who, can't necessarily afford it. So thank you for throwing out those memberships. Ed and I are going to be going to CrimeCon next year. So guess what? If you want to go to Nashville and come and hang out with us, start making plans. What is it? May 31st to June something. So it's a weekend of fun. So who knows? Maybe you guys can stop by and see DutyRon and Ed at the CrimeCon at our booth. We'll be hanging out there. Looking forward to taking a trip with Ed and having some fun and talking about some true crime stuff. So it should be pretty cool. What do you think, Ed?
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, good. Ed's got it blocked off on his calendar. All right, I think we're getting a live update. Just a second.
Tell you, it's getting loud and crowded here. It's much different than it was just a little while earlier. Joining me is Republican Chair Joe Cairo. Joe, thanks for being here. So the polls are closed. How are you feeling?
Feel good. I think we had a very good campaign. We have good candidates. Everyone worked hard. Based upon what we see, the voting turnout today, I think we're going to be in good shape tonight.
Can you tell us about voter turnout in Nassau County?
Is this the guy you have to kiss the ring for if you're a Republican?
Obviously, the general election, the gubernatorial, even the countywide,
That's him, the GOP
draw
chairman.
more interest. But it was a good turnout, but light this year. So we feel confident with the people who came out to vote today.
And you're hoping for a supermajority in the Nassau legislature?
Well, we have 12 now. We'd like to pick up 13, and we think we have a good chance in several of the districts. We'll see how the night plays out.
And finally, the race for North Hempstead Town Supervisor.
Yeah, I think Jen DeSena did a good job. She had the big victory 2 years ago. I think she'll win again this year. We hope Mary Jo Collins, for receiver of taxes, will come along too.
All right. Well, Joe, thank you so much for joining us. That is the latest. I am reporting live from Baldwin. Cecilia Dowd, News 12, Long Island.
All right, Cecilia, thank you very much. That town in North Hempstead race, certainly one to watch tonight, along with so many others. And remember, you can keep up to date on our live election results, of course, here on the air, but also on news12.com. We'll continue to refresh those numbers as they come in. You're watching News 12 Long Island Special Vote 2023 coverage.
All right, that's it. Let's wrap it up, Ed. Again, thank you, everybody, for the prayers for our special friend. Again, I'll be talking with you guys more about that in the future, but just keep those prayers coming. I really appreciate it. Yeah, and somebody said Ed taking off his shirt, that wouldn't be classy. We talk about we talk about true crime here. So, and police, police detectives' perspectives and crime scenes and so forth. it would not be a good image if we started disrobing on the air. So that's it. Popeye agrees. He's agreeing with.
No full Monty here.
No. It's the wrong station. Tune out.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, guys and girls, I just want to say thank you for everybody being here. Ed, I know you got something to say, as you always do at the end of these lives.
Yes, folks. I know we had some fun here tonight, but we were talking about very serious topics. But let's never forget, okay? Be safe, be prepared, and watch your six.
Amen to that, Ed. Thank you all, and to all the victims of crime out there and their families, we send strength, prayers, and positive vibes. As always, stand by for a message from our cop team, not in that necessary order. We got to change that up. I've been talking about that for a long time. But thank you. Message from the cop team. Good night from New York, and we appreciate the replay views and all the live chatters. Thank you, guys. Good night.